Hello, I'm Pete Martin. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in other videos of mandolin, fiddle, improvisation, and many other musical subjects, click the subscribe banner below. And if you want to be notified when I post new videos, click the bell icon right next to it. This video series is to teach improvisation on the mandolin for people who haven't done it before or for people who feel like they need some help with their improvisation. I would definitely suggest going back to video number 1 of the series and progressing through in order. There are PDF files that go along with this, so that if you want the PDF file, email me and request Improv from Scratch number 4 major scale practice. In video number 1, we learned the notes of the G major scale, so let's review them in example 1 here. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. When we improvise, we're going to use the notes of the major scale, but we don't just go up and down the scale outlines, because that's not a very musical sound. So we need some other things that we can do. So we need to start learning some other musical phrases that we can use in our improvising, and we do that in this video. The first thing I want us to practice is what is called thirds. So in thirds, we start on the first note of the scale and skip the second note and play the third note. So we're playing every other note of the scale and skipping the one in the middle. Then we go up one note in the scale and do the same thing. So we see that in example 2, so learn example 2 now. Now let's do descending thirds on the G major scale, and we see that in example 3. The next thing we're going to do is play the first note in the scale, the second note in the scale, the third note in the scale, and then back to the first note in the scale. So this is a 4-note pattern, and then we're going to ascend by going up to the next note in the scale and playing the same pattern again. I call this 1, 2, 3, 1, and we see it in example 4 here. We can descend doing the same thing. Start on the B note in the G major scale, go to A and G, so that would be 3, 2, 1, and then go back to 3. So that's what I do call this, is 3, 2, 1, 3, and we see that in example 5 here. The next scale exercise is called a triad. In a triad, you play a note, skip a note, play a note, skip a note, and play a note. It's a 3-note pattern, and we're playing every other note in the scale, going up those 3 notes. Then once again, you go up to the next note in the scale and play the same pattern. This is example number 6, so learn this now. Now let's descend using triads. Example 7. We can reverse the order we played the triads in example 6, and we do that in example 8. We can now reverse the order of the triads we did in example 7, and that is example 9. We can play triads in an up and down pattern, and we do that in example 10. We play example 10 in reverse from high to low, and that's example 11. So make sure you're comfortable doing all these scale exercises. And remember, all these scale exercises, we can use bits and pieces of all of these things to help us make a more interesting and musical solo. We'll look at how to do that down the road a little bit. Make sure you can do that. You can do all these exercises in the key of G, and I would also suggest transposing them to several other keys as well. When you're comfortable with this, then move on to the next video. I'm Pete Martin. Thanks for watching.